paper is entitled Family Aid to Freedom by myself, Catherine Naranco, and my partner, Beatrice Guerrero. Our advisor is Ma'am Lori Anda. For our thesis, this paper aims to prove that a strong family structure results in the better upbringing of children, which leads them to make better choices. We have three objectives. First is to establish that the good use of freedom leads to success. Second is to determine the values that contribute to the good use of freedom and from whom they are learned. Third is to establish that the family is still the source of the good use of freedom and therefore success. For methodology, first is the research on our conceptual framework. Second is the formulation and distribution of our research survey. Third is the analysis of our survey data. And fourth, documentation. So our research on our conceptual framework, entitled What Our Working Definition of Freedom Was, and Why Freedom Was So Imperative to Success. For the formulation and distribution of our research survey, we targeted mostly successful students. We had 90 respondents, mostly from UP Diliman. Our questions included their personal and family life, their achievements, or their family dynamics. It then included 21 crucial values. We asked from whom they are learned. And then changing the mindset, we gave 36 success traits and asked of which they had, to whom do they attribute it. Here are snippets of our survey. The first image is of personal information. Second is of the values given. And third are the successful traits. All follow a modified Likert scale. Now for analysis of survey data and documentation. For our data analysis, our conceptual framework included three concepts. First was freedom, deciding on the right choices. Second, self-determination, a characteristic of freedom. And third, success, development of oneself. So once again, what is freedom? Our working definition is of St. Thomas Aquinas, that property of the will to choose what is good and the means to reach it. So there is a difference between the good use of freedom and the bad. The good use of freedom is what must be guided. Guided freedom would entail being conscious enough to recognize what is not good and make the conscious decision to resist it. Therefore, freedom is also very much about consciousness. As said, freedom is knowing what is good and the means to reach it. To know the means to reach it also means being conscious of what is preventing you from reaching it. Therefore, what true freedom does is allow you to anticipate challenges or obstacles and turn them into opportunities. For self-determination, our definition is understanding that if the end goal is happiness, it is within one's power to choose how to think and make something good out of an otherwise awful situation. Therefore, this is a characteristic of freedom. Because in the same way freedom should be guided, self-determination entails both intrinsic and external motivations. So what does this mean? How exactly is freedom guided? We go to a concept called self-determination theory by Ryan and Desi 2000. It has two concepts: intrinsic motivation, which is the inherent tendency to realize one's potentials. Then we have external motivation, which is the performance of an activity in order to attain an outcome. Inner conscience, or intrinsic motivation, will either be facilitated or forestalled by external motivations or influence. The point is, our intrinsic motivations do not work alone. For our paper, guided freedom is shaped by the guidance of our parents in the lives of their children. Intrinsic motivations come from ourselves, but the external motivations are learned from our parents. Like how we learn from our parents that responsibility improves our studies and charity improves our relationships. These are the external motivations. So a parent's values and teachings, plus a child's inner motivations, is what results in good decisions by the child, who becomes genuinely happier. So external influences can shape one's consciousness. Therefore, it is also within freedom to surround oneself with good influences that influence good decisions, or to control one's environment, because bad influences do result in bad decision-making, while good influences result in good decision-making. So that links us to success. Achieving all this gives us a sense of personal fulfillment. It gives one an additional sense of self-determination. Therefore, there is this cycle of personal fulfillment and self-determination, and that gives one stronger character. So with stronger character, personal fulfillment, self-determination, the good use of freedom, you now have the ability to take on any challenge, and that makes one very successful. Now for the empirical side of our research, our results. We'll tackle first values, then the success traits, and then the students we surveyed. For crucial values, our research concluded that it is all from the family. As we average each value, 94